We have officially hit the end of week 2 of the NBA season, and this is where matchups are won or lost. The weekend is the most crucial stretch in fantasy basketball every single week. It's all about maximizing the games played and squeezing out every single last point out of your lineup. Sunday is the holy grail of matchups, the day that separates the winners from the losers. Welcome back to The Corner, your #1 destination for all things fantasy basketball. If you've been enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a post, especially with how fast this fantasy season is already moving along. In today's video, I put together the perfect list of sleeper waiver wire pickups, players who not only have great upside, but more importantly, they play on Friday and Sunday of this week, the two most important days of the week to get that dub. If you're trying to keep that win streak alive or steal a matchup at the buzzer, these are the names that can get you across the finish line. First up, we've got Jeremiah Fears. And I know, if you just looked at the box score from his last game, you're probably thinking, why would I even considering picking up Jeremiah Fears? He's coming off one of the worst games of his young career, shooting just 1 for 11 from the field and turning the ball over 4 times. On paper, that's rough, trust me. But don't let one bad performance cloud you from the bigger picture, because there's a lot more upside here than people realize. Before that terrible night, Fears was shooting 65% from the field across his 2 games, and that's not a fluke. The confidence, the shot creation, and the aggression are all there. The Pelicans coaching staff clearly trusts him, and he's been given the green light to shoot the ball. And that's exactly what you want to see from a young player stepping into a larger role. When he's locked in, he can heat up quickly and rack up fantasy points in a hurry. Now, let's talk about opportunity, because that's what fantasy basketball is all about. Zion Williamson is currently dealing with a nagging foot injury, and as of now, there's no official timetable for when he's going to return, or if he'll miss any time at all. That opens the door wide for Fears to slide into extended minutes, potentially even another start if he does decide to sit. And with the Pelicans' upcoming matchups, that opportunity couldn't come at a better time. To close out the week, the Pelicans face the Clippers and the Thunder, 2 teams that can flat out score. So the Pelicans are going to need extra offensive firepower to stay competitive for these 2 games. And that's where Jeremiah Fears comes in. The Clippers defense has holes when you attack downhill, and Fears excels at breaking down defenders and creating his own shot. Then you've got the Thunder, who love to push the pace. Perfect for a rhythm scorer like Fears, who thrives in transition and open space. If you're looking for a short-term pickup with both volume and upside, Jeremiah Fears is your guy. The usage is there, the confidence is there, and the matchups line up perfectly for a potential bounce back weekend. Don't let the one bad game scare you off. This is the kind of player who can swing your matchup on a Friday-Sunday schedule, especially if Zion does not play. So if he's sitting on your waiver wire, now's the time to go grab him before someone else catches on. These are the exact kinds of low-risk, high-reward pickups that can make the difference between pulling off a close win or watching your lead slip away on Sunday night. Next up, let's talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the cousin of Shai. He has been absolutely killing it over the first week of the season. He's taking full advantage of a depleted Hawks roster, stepping into an expanded role and proving that he can handle real NBA minutes. Now, it's important to note, this surge in production has come with several key players out of the lineup, including Risa Share, Kristaps, and Jalen Johnson, all of whom are expected to return over this current week. Once those guys are back, you should expect Alexander Walker's scoring to come back down to earth, probably around the 8 to 9 points per game instead of the 17 he's currently putting up right now. But even with that dip, he still holds solid fantasy value because of his versatility. He's not just a scorer, he contributes across multiple categories: assists, steals, and even the occasional 3-pointer. That kind of all-around production gives him a decent floor, and even when his shot volume drops, he is still capable of being a good fantasy asset. The key here is timing. This is a short-term pickup that could win in your week. Those extra 16 to 20 fantasy points he's capable of giving you on a strong shooting night can easily swing a fantasy matchup, especially over the weekend when games are tight and every single category counts. If your team needs a scoring boost or some filler production and guard or wing slots, Alexander Walker is worth the ad. Just be aware though of the short shelf life. Once the Hawks lineup gets healthy, his role will shrink. But for right now, he's a great plug and play option to give you that extra push heading into Sunday. This is not a hold into next week. Another player to keep on your radar this weekend is going to be Ayo Dosunmu. I hope I said that right. I probably did not. He's quietly been one of the most reliable bench contributors in fantasy basketball so far. He's not flashy, He's not putting up crazy monster numbers, but what he is doing is giving you steady, predictable production every single night. And that kind of consistency is gold at this point in the season. Ayo is currently available in 85% of leagues in ESPN, which makes absolutely no sense given his role right now. With Kobe White still sidelined, Ayo has been logging substantial minutes off the bench and is firmly entrenched in the Bulls rotation. What makes him such a strong pickup is that his value doesn't hinge on any one single player being out. He's earned his minutes regardless of who's healthy or not for the Bulls. You can expect solid across the board numbers from him, some points, a few rebounds, a couple assists, and a steal or two. He's not going to win you a category by himself, but he's the kind of player who quietly fills in the gaps and helps you not lose one either. If you're looking for a safe hard floor pickup who's averaging around 20 plus minutes a night and can contribute without being matchup dependent, Ayo might be the best value add-on this list. He's not a short-term streamer, he's a reliable plug-in option who can hold value week after week, especially as long as Kobe White remains out. Next up is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a veteran presence who's proving he still has plenty left in his tank. Now with the young Grizzlies squad, KCP might not be the explosive scorer he once was, but he's still a steady contributor who understands his role and plays within himself. And that makes him a sneaky good fantasy option if you're looking for stability. So far this season, Caldwell-Pope is averaging around 21 fantasy points per game, and while that won't blow you away, it's his consistency and efficiency that make him super valuable right now. He doesn't force bad shots, he contributes in multiple categories like rebounds, assists, and steals, and he rarely has those empty, low impact nights that kill your matchup. What's great about KCP is that he has a safe floor with some upside. He's not going to suddenly drop 40 points, but he can string together solid performances and occasionally get hot from three, giving you an extra scoring bump when you need it most. For fantasy managers who want a player that won't tank their percentages or turn the ball over, Caldwell-Pope is a strong add for this weekend, especially in deeper leagues where consistency is key. If you're chasing stability over flash, this is your guy. Plug him in, expect steady production across the board, and if he catches a hot streak, you might end up getting more value than you bargained for. Finally, we've got Murray Boyles. He's stepping into a golden opportunity this weekend with Jacob Paleto sidelined due to a lower back injury, and as of right now, there's no clear timetable for Paleto's return. It could end up being a short-term issue which only makes him miss like 1 or 2 games, or something that lingers for a few weeks. Either way, while he's out, Murray Boyles is going to get an extended run in the rotation, and that's where the upside lies. When Paleto went down on Monday, Murray Boyles wasted no time at all making an impact on that game. He stepped up in a major way, playing with energy, attacking the glass, and showing he can handle front court minutes against solid competition. He's not a household name by any means yet because he's a rookie, but this is the kind of short-term streamer that can give you immediate production when opportunity opens up on the team. If you're in need of rebounds, defensive stats, or just some front court depth for the weekend, this is the great plug and play option for you. Even if Paleto's absence ends up being brief, getting 2 strong games of solid output, especially if he's playing Friday and Sunday, could be the difference between winning and losing this week's matchup. Keep an eye on the injury reports, but if Paleto remains out, do not hesitate to grab Boyles off waivers. He's the kind of player who can make the most of a temporary role and deliver value right when you need it most. And last but not least, let's talk about Jared Vanderbilt. This might be one of the most criminally overlooked players in fantasy basketball right now. He started the season off rough, putting up a brutal -1 fantasy points in his opener game, but since then, he's been completely lights out. He flipped the script. His last 3 outings have been 20, 21, and 39 fantasy points, showing that he's finding his rhythm and carving out a real role in the rotation at NLA. Vanderbilt has always been known for his hustle and defensive energy, but what's different now is the consistency in his production. He's filling the stat sheet across multiple categories with rebounds, steals, and even a few assists sprinkled in. He doesn't need to score a ton to be fantasy relevant. His value comes from the effort plays that most managers overlook. What makes him such an appealing pickup is that he's available. He's currently rostered in less than 1% of ESPN leagues, which means he's sitting there waiting to be grabbed in nearly every single league right now in ESPN. While he's a great short-term streamer for this weekend, there's also a real argument for him being a long-term hold as well. If he keeps up his level of all-around contribution, Vanderbilt could easily work his way into a consistent 25+ fantasy point territory every single night. So if you're looking for a player who can quietly give you production across the board and is somehow still unclaimed, Jared Vanderbilt is your guy. Don't wait until next week when his roster percentage spikes. Grab him now and then get ahead of the curve. And that's going to wrap up my list of must-add players for this weekend. Get ahead of the curve, take advantage of those key matchups, and don't let your league mates beat you to the punch. Thanks for stopping by the corner. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the one linked right here for more basketball tips and waiver wire advice. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.